alternate bridges and dead bugs. Dead bugs, you'll see what they are, but you'll figure out why it's called a dead bug. So we'll start with our bridge. We're going to roll up. So you can do any version of our bridge here. I've already done my roll up, roll down, so I'm going to start with pulses, squeezing the glutes, clench, 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 making sure my hips are level, making sure each time I squeeze my glutes, I can feel the low abs on the other side of those glutes harden, flatten, contract, the transverse abdominis there, and then thinking glutes clenching, cracking a pencil between my cheeks. It's so easy to slip into the hamstrings or the back. And my philosophy is, in a bridge, either your hamstrings and back are doing it or your butt and low abs are doing it. So if it slips into the hamstrings, try to adjust form, making more of a tilt, more of a belly button, or pouring the water into your belly button if your pelvis were a cup of water or a bowl of water. And if you can't fix it with form, then rest. So nice, let's get 5 more. 4, 3, 2, 1, roll down. Dead bug position is this, arms and legs up in the air. So find your neutral pelvis, arch your spine, tuck, arch your pelvis, tuck your pelvis, find that happy neutral where your abs are engaged and you have no back pain. Neutral might be different for people depending on their back situation. Lift one knee up to tabletop without moving the pelvis, and then meet the other to join it. You should feel your abs firing right in this position. Make sure those ribs are gently hugged down, and then arms straight up in the air. Here's my dead bug position. So first dead bug is hands on the thighs, and I am going to put make a pushing war between hands and knees, but the knees always win. My knees will never slip below my hips because that would cause the low back to fire. So I'm pushing into my hands. I'm going to hold for 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'm going to do that again. We'll do that about 4 more times. I just want you to feel this trunk work. I want you to feel maybe a little hip flexor, but mostly trunk. Pushing the knees and hands against each other. Now check alignment. Are my knees right over my hips? And are my feet in line with my knees? And release. Feel everything between ribs and hips turn on here. Again, hands and knees. Notice I'm not really moving my knees. I'm trying to keep them right over my hips. Not too high, not too low. And push. Now I really feel it now that I lowered my knees to right over my hips. So that is challenging the core to stay engaged and not letting my low back slip into it. And release. Again, checking that we're not crisscross, that one knee's not over here. I see all these things with lots of clients. So let's get 2 more. Hands on knees, press. Not moving, just a stalemate. Not lifting our shoulders to push. Pushing, rooting those shoulder blades down. And relax. 1 more time, and again, making this therapeutic. Even when you're working, we don't want to strain. We want to breathe. Last time, we want to breathe and engage the core. Hug the belly button to spine. Teach your body to handle stress with breathing, and I say grace, but I mean that in so many different ways. Relax. In grace by not straining and making your body's pressure rise and jetting your abs out and tightening your neck. Okay, so feet are down. We're into our next form of bridges. Now you can use a tube. So if you're using a tube, go for it. If not, honestly, you're going to feel it without the tube. We're going to do out and in with the knees. So abduction, adduction, a little external rotation as well. Internal, external. Feet, I'm going to go a little wider than my hips on this bridge. I'm going to roll up to my bridge. Maintain, check that everything's level. With keeping my feet planted and my hips perfectly level, I'm going to push out against that tube, squeezing my buns, and hug inward, fighting the tightness of my outer hips. And just continuously out and in. So I'm going to raise this up a little higher. Lift. Butt squeeze out. Butt squeeze is what I think, so that I don't ever let my hips drop. So we don't want them to drop. We want to stay level. Especially as you push out, squeeze those buns and feel those outer glutes. Maybe the first few you do slowly. So push out, hold here for a second. Feel your outer glutes squeeze. Feel your butt squeeze to the ceiling. And now squeeze inward, hold here for a second. Feel your inner thighs, low abs, and a little bit of buns. So out and in. Now we're keeping the hips level. If you had a hot cup of coffee on your abs, we wouldn't want to spill it on us. So that's how stable you're keeping your hips as you're rhythmically, continuously moving out and in. I don't like super fast, but I also don't like super slow because the body is meant to move fluidly. So we want to train the body to move like we want it to move. Too slow, I tend to see people tense up, because they're trying so hard. Too fast, we tend to slip into our stress muscles, like our low back, our neck. So just fluid, continuous. And again, thinking of this being as therapeutic for your body as possible. You can burn your muscles and still have it be therapeutic, and still breathe through it and kind of find your peace, your muscular and inner peace with exercise. So it's training your body to handle exercise stress, which then can carry over ideally into handling stress in life, right? Glute squeeze out, glute squeeze in. And again, you go until you feel a nice burn. I usually do a class and I do this for about a minute, but it depends on you. It is not about what anyone else is doing. It's about what your body says is appropriate without feeling your low back. So I'm just going to do 2 more. Oh, I love to feel that burn in the buns. I'm going to take that off for our next dead bug. So again, find your neutral spine, tuck, arch, find that happy middle. Lift one leg at a time into tabletop. Imagine this is a tabletop. And arms up. The hands are now going to be on the knees again. Make sure everything's level, knees over hips, feet in line, and it's alternating pushes. Notice my knees aren't going anywhere. I still have that stalemate push, but I'm doing right side, left side, holding for a second. I want to feel the difference one side from the other. Can I maintain this good core connection with tabletop position? And then can I add pressure to it? And here's another thing to note. If your knees are going off to the sides, try to then put your hands on the inner quad and push a little more inner and correct by strengthening the muscles that bring them into better alignment. You'll feel some different muscles. I'm always amazed at how challenging this can be, as simple of an exercise as it seems. Pushing right, pushing left, pushing right, pushing left. Checking that you're pushing straight. It's not going out to the side. Everything's in alignment. Let's get 1 more each side. Right, left, place them down. Now we're on to our third bridge. I love the marching bridge. I've done it in another session, but we'll do it again because it's so great. So you're going to roll up to your bridge. Ribs are hugged down. Stab those side abs. Stab and then brace your abs so that you feel them harden under your fingers. We're not jetting them out. We're just hugging and bracing. We're going to lift the right leg without moving the pelvis or trunk. Replace and switch. Again, this is one I don't like to do fast, because the slower you do it, the more you feel if there are any, not necessarily the slower you do it, but the more smoothly you do it, the more you feel if there are any imbalances, any shifting of the hips, which we want to try to brace through. So I stab the abs to feel the abs in their roll, and then I grab the hips to feel if they're staying level. If they're not, I'm going to support them and hold them level, so then my body can feel, okay, with level hips, these are the muscles I need to fire. All right, got it. And then I go back to the abs and feel the opposite side oblique turn on when I lift the leg. And then I try to keep both sides on throughout so that there's no dipping. And I don't like to do too many of these, as I mentioned before, because I don't like it to slip into the back. I really want to feel this turn on. Yeah. And be able to stay level. There's a little dip. And then roll down. Okay. Final dead bug. Find your neutral pelvis. 1 leg at a time in tabletop. Arms straight up this time. We're going to go opposite arm and leg away. Right arm and left leg travel away. Keeping the other limb straight. You only go as low with this leg as you can keep the rib to hip connection. No low back pain. And back to center switch. Left arm, right leg. So the challenge is, as your arm and leg go overhead, that your ribs and hips don't join them and they stay hugged towards each other and tight. You can have a ball in between your hands and knees here. You can push into that ball so that when one arm and leg go away, you're pushing these towards each other, and that really turns your abs on. This, again, is surprisingly challenging for every level that I've worked with. I've worked with lots of different levels. And again, the lower you take that extending leg and arm, the more challenging it is. But if you feel it in your low back, you went too far. So listen to your body. It might be just diagonal towards the wall. It might be just pull away just a little. It might be low towards the ground where you feel a good little shake and burn in the abs. Again, really working to press that belly button down and not feel your low back jump in. The ball is a really great cue. I'll come in with my hands and just have something to push on. Have people push on my forearms as I'm resisting, as they're going arm and leg away. Whoops. Now I've slipped into same arm and same leg, which is also challenging and also happens a lot with my clients. So switch back to opposite. Just check. They're both great exercises. Same arm, same leg, challenging. Woo. Opposite arm and leg, challenging. There it is. If you're my client and you're watching me, you probably feel a lot better because you're like, I did that. And rest. Oh, I feel so good. And then just finish off, because we worked in a bent hip position, which we spend our life in, with a roll up, roll down, just to open the hips again. Notice if it's a little easier to do a tilt and feel all of your vertebrae being able to move a little more independently, I hope. Okay.